Exodus chapter 2. Moses is born. Verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi, and took to wife a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes, and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off, to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child. And behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses, and she said, Because I drew him out of the water. So that last verse has a key, that's 2:10. It is likely that the name given him by the Egyptian princess was a compound of an Egyptian river god's name, such as Hapi or Osiris. And the Egyptian word mos, meaning child, i.e. Hapimos, to the Egyptian princess, drawing Moses out of the water, meant that a river god had given birth to him. Moses may have thereafter dropped the false god's name and used the Hebrew name Moshe, 4872, Moses, from the Hebrew word mashah, 4871, to draw out. The text here could also mean that Moses' mother named him, since the Hebrew does not specify which she, Pharaoh's daughter or Moses' mother, actually named him. The next section of the scriptures is Moses runs away, starting at verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killedst the Egyptian? And Moses feared, and said, Surely this thing is known. Now, when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well. The key for verse 2:15, which I just read, the Midianites were descendants of Abraham by another wife, Keturah, who married after Sarah died. Genesis 25:1. Now we're at verse 16. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, How is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter. All right, there's a couple keys for verse 16 and 21, and I just read 21. In Numbers 12:1, Moses' wife is said to be an Ethiopian. Since Ethiopia was settled by descendants of Cush, they can be referred to as both. It can also be seen from Habakkuk 3:7 that Cushan and Midian are either interchangeable names, or that Midian is the place where these people lived. Therefore, Zipporah was most likely the Ethiopian wife. Another possibility is that at the point of Numbers 12:1, Moses' first wife Zipporah had died, and he married an Ethiopian woman, just as Abraham had married Keturah after the death of Sarah. See note on Genesis 2:15-7. So now the verse we're at is 22, which there's also a key for 22. And she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom, for he said, I have been a stranger in a strange land. And the key for verse 22 says, in Hebrew, the name Gershom suggests a foreigner who was banished into exile. Moses' second son, Eliezer, God is a helper, is mentioned in Exodus 18:4. Okay, now we're at verse 23. And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of their bondage. And God heard their groaning, and remembered his covenant with Abraham and Isaac and with Jacob. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them.